I've been with TRMN since July of 2013, so we're going to be 7 years this year. All right, well, 3rd Fleet, we're the southeastern United States. Right now we've got Alabama, Georgia, both Carolinas, Tennessee, and Virginia up to the 38th parallel. We have bits of the Caribbean and South America as well, but I don't think we have any presence out there just yet. Some of our most popular conventions tend to be, of course, Dragon Con in Atlanta. For a number of years, we had Honor Con in Raleigh-Durham before that convention went away. At the moment, we now have Fantasy that takes place towards the end of March in Raleigh-Durham, and another big one tends to be MarsCon in Williamsburg, Virginia, which is actually coming up this coming weekend. All right, well, that one's a bit of a long story. When I first joined TRMN, I'd recently been burned out of fan group leadership. I'd spent about a year and a half in command of my local Starfleet chapter, and through a number of different factors, mainly because there was no one else on the command team interested in helping out, all of the load for running the chapter was on me. We weren't really getting anywhere, and I ended up it contributed to a sort of a nervous breakdown I had at 30 years old, if you could believe it. And shortly after that, when I'd left the Starfleet chapter, one of my good friends had told me he was starting up a chapter of the Royal Manticore Navy, and he figured I would enjoy the books. He asked me to get involved with the club, and I promised him at that time, I just want to be a member at this point. After everything has happened, I don't want to be an officer, I don't want to be a leader, I just want to hang out and have fun for a while. It lasted for about 4 months. I joined my first chapter, and we ended up having a lot of growth in Virginia, so we launched a second chapter, and I decided, well, all right, I'll help out a little bit, but I'll just be an enlisted man. I'll be the ship's bosun. And I think it has to do with the caliber of the people that were in the organization. I just felt more and more inspiration to take more of an active role in things. I went from becoming the chapter bosun to an instructor at the academy, to the Fleet Master Chief for 3rd Fleet. I held that job for about a year and a half, then finally decided I wanted to start my own chapter with a specific naval history focus, so we ended up launching the light cruiser Atropos. That one quickly grew into a battle cruiser, and from there I was steadily moving up into division and task group commands. And then finally, my predecessor as 3rd Fleet CO, Joe Lyons, decided he had to step down, concentrate on some of his own things, and I just stepped up into the position, and it's been going pretty well ever since, tell you the truth. And that's hard to say. That there have been some really good ones. I think, to be perfectly honest, it sounds a little silly of me, but I think it was the second to last HonorCon. It was right when I announced I was leaving the enlisted ranks to go up and take command of my own chapter. I'd been put in for and was actually awarded the Osterman Cross, which was the top enlisted award in the organization. And the papers, the award manuals cite all of these things that a recipient would have to do. And as far as I was concerned, I was just doing relatively basic stuff. Sure, I was active, but from my end, it didn't seem like it was anything out of the ordinary. But the fact that my efforts were so highly regarded by my fellow members that they felt good about putting me in for that sort of award, it just made me feel appreciated. And it's really been something I haven't really felt in any other fan group experience. I think I actually have their certificate in my file somewhere in the back, but a lot of it had to do with my tenure as the 3rd Fleet Master Chief. Dan Walker was our Fleet CO at the time, and he wanted to come up with good fleet-wide activities. Of course, this was before the Black Sphinx Cup came into being, and I remembered an activity we used to have in the Starfleet chapter. It was popular in the Starfleet Marine Corps about having a reading contest where members see how many pages they could read over a given amount of time. And whichever chapter ended up with the most pages would end up winning the award for that particular year. And it seemed like something relatively quick and easy, because even if you don't have the money to go out and put a uniform together, if you can't travel to conventions for whatever reason, you can still pick up a book and support your chapter's efforts that way. And for about 2 years, that was a really good, steady project of ours. And then when that worked out well, we started raising money to send one of our Third Fleet midshipmen to U.S. Space Camp. We raised the money, made it a sort of a scholarship program, as it were, where the parents essentially didn't have to do anything, just arrange for the transportation. Everything was paid for. But those really big projects, I think, that I helped spearhead were at a big part of what brought the award out. That's a really tough one. I may have to go with a Travis Long from the prequel novels to answer that one. And it's one of the main characters we start with. Granted, he was only an enlisted person for the first of the books, but I think having that perspective of someone going through basic training, enlisting as an E1, and then through the next few books starting to follow his career up to becoming a fairly well thought of tactical officer, I think it brought a pretty unique perspective to it. And kind of for me, I feel that connection because in the organization I started out as an enlisted person and circumstances dictated that I not stay there for as long as I thought I would.